Welcome to the TCU Innovates podcast.
For over 150 years, Texas Christian University has been at the forefront of innovation, and we're just getting started.
I'm TCU Chancellor Victor Boschini.
And I'm TCU President Daniel Pullen.
We are your hosts of TCU Innovates.
We highlight the latest stories of innovation and thought leadership across our community.
Dream big, be bold,
and lead on, Horned Frogs.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. This is Victor Boschini here, and today I'm with a special guest, Dominic Mendlik. Dominic is the president of the student body here at TCU and just an all-around great guy. Dom, thanks for being here for the show.
Thank you, Chancellor.
Dom, start by telling me, what's your Horned Frog story, your origin story? Like, how did you come to TCU?
Sure, yeah. So I had a bit of an indirect path to TCU, but I think also one that has some moments a lot of people can relate to. So TCU was not really on my radar when I had started the college admissions process, but I had a high school college counselor who clearly had an eye for what I'd like in a university and said that I should apply to TCU, check it out. I got accepted, and I was kind of doing my tours. This was during the pandemic. Came down here, toured SMU. No hate to SMU. I just didn't connect with the campus. And then we were in the area. And so we decided to come over to Fort Worth, tour TCU. And it was just alive, vibrant. You know, it was, of course, COVID. And you know, so it wasn't perhaps as lively as it would have been, but there was beach volleyball game, I think, or tournament going on. I think people were watching that. People were in the commons on the chairs smiling and laughing and being in community together. And I was like, this is a happy place to be. So went back, and that was in the back of my mind. And the Frog Camp signups came out, and I knew that Frog Camp, if I was going to go to TCU, was an absolute must. I opened up the link and I saw that half of them were full within the first half an hour. And I was like, gosh, if I don't get on this, then I'm going to lose out. And so I called my mom. I put down my deposit while I was sitting in class, and I signed up for Frog Camp.
Okay, Dom, I always call you the student body president, but you're also the student government president. Tell us, what does that role involve?
Yeah, so being SGA president, I think you wear a lot of different hats to a lot of different folks. So you're elected by the student body to be the highest ranking representative of the student voice to the university, to look out for the student experience, to advocate for students on campus. So what does that actually mean? Well, in practice, that means there are often times where you'll be the only student in the room on key decisions, or you have the most access perhaps to university leadership to kind of communicate to them at the executive level, okay, high level, what do students want to see on our campus? And then also as kind of the chief executive, if you will, of the Student Government Association student organization, you're also kind of a club president, organization president, which is responsible for developing younger leaders in the organization, connecting them with different opportunities for student leadership and student advocacy, all the way down the food chain of leadership at the university. And I think an easy way to understand it is to understand that we advocate for students in the same way that the faculty senate or the staff assembly or the graduate student senate advocate for their constituent groups on campus within the shared governance philosophy of the university, which I think is a great one. And it affords students a real seat at the table in conversation. So the SJ president is responsible for being the voice there at that table. And then ultimately, being a good representative of the student body, representing the university well, and welcoming students to campus, at events like the Chancellor's Assembly. So yeah, a lot of different hats for sure.
Definitely. I always am in awe of the amount of time you all put into this. It's just incredible, seriously. Dom, do you feel like when you speak up, people listen? And I know students do, but I mean, like, is your voice as the voice of the students, do you feel like it's respected and listened to? And sometimes do you get what you want?
I think that the student voice is absolutely respected. And I think that people at our university do respect student leaders' voices as representative of the student body and as partners in governance. Now, there have certainly not been every single time where we've had a project or idea or really felt passionately about advocating for a change on campus, and that's just been blanketly accepted. Of course not. But I think that what I've learned over the years is that, I've been a part of things that have taken months or sometimes years to get rolling, but they've been accepted by the university. And at times you've had to compromise, but ultimately changes have been made in response to student feedback. So to the students out there that might be listening to this, I want them to know that we do hear your concerns, and those concerns are being heard by others as well at the university level. And changes have happened in my time here to improve the student experience that are a direct result of both the Student Government Association's advocacy work and then the partnership that we have with the university and the relationship we have with partners in administration and in the faculty that are very open to hearing student concerns and acting on them in a number of instances.
Okay, last year you were the vice president of the SGA, correct?
Yes.
And what were some of your highlights of that year in your mind, do you think?
Yeah. Well, I think that year, and actually it was a continuation too, working with Joe Winnick, our student body president last year. And then before that, we worked together as well on the Academic Affairs Committee in our House of Student Representatives. And that partnership that we had over those 2 years allowed us, I think, both to really sink our teeth in some really great projects. I think the biggest accomplishment perhaps that I'm proud of prior to becoming president was moving back to pass no credit deadline. That was a student proposal that we'd really felt passionately about for several years. And we had some amazing partners in the Faculty Senate who and associate deans across campus and at the undergraduate council and all the other groups that ultimately had a piece of the input into that proposal. But that was, I think, the first time that I really saw a project start to finish. Student grassroots started all the way to being stamped by the university approval. And that has made a huge impact in the lives of students that come up to me still and are like, thank you. This has improved my ability to shape my academic journey effectively and in a way that is responsive to my needs and the way I want to take my academic path. So, that was a big project. I think last year, too, we had a number of kind of initiatives. We got the overdose emergency kit stocked in all of our around campus, and I always tell folks with that, it's a situation where it's good to have. We hope we never need it,
right?
But if we need it, we have it,
fair.
And that's the most important thing, because at the end of the day, we want to keep all of our students happy and healthy and able to fully experience their college journey here at TCU. So that was a great addition. We worked with great partners on that project. I was running around this August with folks from our wellness and recovery office, stocking those in the heat. But we were out there doing the mission. Last year, we also worked on creating new student tradition with the Bluebonnet Battle. That was a super fun project to work on. And then we also, worked on some academic policy work with the Faculty Senate, dealing with coursework being due over university breaks and, how syllabi and course expectations get distributed to students and some other things. So it was definitely a good year. We had kind of a wide gamut of things that we worked on, and this year I hope to do the same with the great group that we have.
Good. And okay, then let's carry on into this year. That's what you accomplished. What are your goals for this year?
I think the biggest goals, the biggest projects we're working on right now, the forefront right now are two things that we're kind of currently running around in meetings and everything, taking care of. The first is prepping for the fall concert we're going to have here in a month. But then beyond that, which is kind of the responsibility of every student body president now, one of the big goals I have is responding to, again, kind of a multi-year interest from the student body, which is revamping our homecoming tradition. Currently in the process now of putting together a steering committee to lead that revitalization. We want to bring back our homecoming parade. I know students they want the floats, they want the parade, they want the pomp and circumstance, they want that student experience that we lost out on. In a lot of ways, we lost out on key kind of moments in the educational process as young people during the pandemic. And I think people want to maximize the amount of experiences like that they have here at TCU.
I agree. I think that's really a big impetus for what you're saying, why that's happening. Okay, Dominic/Tom, you are the president of the student body. You're the president of SGA. You're a member of a fraternity where you are also an officer. You're in other clubs and organizations. You're in a major. You want to have a professional career when you graduate.
Yeah.
How do you make time for all this?
Gosh, it's gotten harder and harder over the years, but...
I forgot to mention also that he's a very good student.
Thank you, Chancellor. How do I make time? I think I kind of live very closely to my calendar now. There's no way around that. It's back to back, a lot of days. You do have to make sacrifices. You can't do everything, and I think in some ways that's the sacrifice of the job. Is you will miss out on certain things because you have to just make choices, but obviously you get the rewarding experience that is serving as a student body officer in student leadership, and of course it's a great honor to represent all of our amazing students and to be entrusted with that role. So do you give it up? Yeah. Is it a lot of time? Yeah. Do I some days get off campus at 10 p.m. and it's dark and I was like, please, and now I'm starting my homework. Yes, but it's worth it for sure.
Good. Do you ever find yourself saying to your girlfriend or your friends, I'll schedule you in next Tuesday? Like, I can't fit it in today.
Yeah, I'll pencil you in has become my favorite saying. And it's more true than I'd like it to be. I definitely have to block out time. Be intentional about maintaining the relationships that you have with those close to you. You have to definitely be intentional about carving out time for them.
Dominic, in general, since you're involved in so many areas on campus, academically and co-curricularly, what would you say are the strengths of TCU? And then conversely, what would you say if you were in charge of everything at TCU, which there is no person like that, but if there were to be that person, what would you change?
I think that we, kind of looking around the types of universities, I love, President Pullen talks about this, and I actually, he put words to what I'd long felt, which is that TCU does the no compromises student experience. So there's a group of universities across the country, private schools, big power conference sports, amazing student experience, Greek life, but also student organizations, and just a happy campus that's focused on both student life and academics, and then of course amazing faculty. But what we do, out of that group of schools that sort of is in that niche of the total package schools, I call them, I think what we do really well is that student experiential piece, better than anybody. And our student life, I believe, is the best in the country. I think we see that reflected in the fact, we were ranked happiest students in the country by Princeton Review. I think that's a reflection of the fact that our student, and of course our student retention rate is off the charts. It's a reflection of the fact that our student experience is incredible, and it's something that keeps people here and it keeps people coming. In terms of things that I think TCU could do better, I think that a lot of it is tied into the conversations we're having right now with the strategic plan for the next 5-10 years of the university. I think that higher education is under a lot of pressure, and it's being challenged right now by people across the country. Really, what is the mission? What is the why should I send my children to higher ed? I think that TCU has a real opportunity to be a great answer to that question by having, even more improved, academic quality, by also ensuring that we can provide and maintain that total package experience still by securing a place in power conference sports for years to come. I think that my belief is that TCU's areas primarily is maintaining a great student life and then improving probably in the area of increased opportunities for student research, the ability to recruit and retain even more faculty and retain the amazing faculty that we have to provide, I think, unique academic experiences that you can only get here and nowhere else. That's kind of my ambition for TCU.
I love that. Talk a little bit about who influences you leadership-wise. Like, are you a big fan of Abe Lincoln or Martin Luther King? I mean, I'm making those up, but that's the kind of thing I mean.
I don't necessarily think that I have like celebrity leadership role models, but I have role models in my own life that I follow. I'll always remember in high school being the freshman without a car that the seniors would drive out of their way to, drop off and have a ride, or, being the younger person that had a leader of a club or organization give extra responsibilities to grow as a leader and to get more exposure to things instead of just sort of trying to do everything themselves, right? So there are lessons that I think I take away from my own young adult life, interfacing with leaders, good and also leaders that I thought had areas of improvement. And I try and keep those things fresh in my head and keep them present in my mind so that I can take those lessons that I've learned and apply them to my own student leadership.
So Dominic, you're graduating in May of 2025, and that'll be here before you know it.
I know.
So my big question to you is this: who are you now, and who do you want to be in June of 2025?
I think, right now I'm, just a student like everybody else. I'm somebody who is here for the same reasons, that we attract students from all over the country, which is, having fun, meeting amazing people, exploring myself intellectually. The things I've learned from freshman year to now are just incredible. The development in my leadership and just my maturity as a person, as a friend is incredible. I think that who I want to be in June, is just even more of those things, continuing that evolution to the greatest degree possible with the time that I have left at our university. I also, want to the extent, that I have a legacy, and I'm not someone who's particularly focused on that, but I want to leave behind an ability for the student leaders, in at least student government particularly, that come after me, to leave them with the institutional knowledge to serve in student leadership at a high level very effectively, represent students, and know how to do that in a way that's effective and it can get real results and real change for students. So that's sort of, what I would like to leave behind. And, in June, be somebody who's prepared to take that next step. I want to go to law school and I want to practice law someday. And I believe that, by the time May comes around, I haven't come to terms with it yet, but I think I'll be ready to make that jump.
The funny thing is you will be, you'll see. And I think that's what happens to seniors. Like about March, you're like, it's time. I get it. Now, I'm sadder than heck because I don't want to leave all these people.
Sure.
But I think the truth is the people you really want to see, you'll see for the rest of your life anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I do think that that's an area that I believe that I could improve on is carving out, because we talked about earlier, I'm so busy, carving out more time to, send a happy birthday text to somebody you haven't seen in years. That's always something I could improve upon. But, that's my goal of mine is I want to stay connected to my people from TCU for years to come, because I really do believe that, those lifelong friends are the people that I've met here on our campus. Absolutely.
Okay, last thing, Dominic. Anything you want to talk about we haven't talked about?
I've loved listening to these podcast episodes, and I love how, at the end of most of them, we talk about, what is the big dream for the university. And
so tell us yours.
My big dream for TCU is that we can continue to give what I think is the ideal college experience to as many students as possible, which is not only just, a degree that is, incredibly valuable and applicable to a successful career or pursuing their potential in a performance art field or whatever, ultimately their dream is. Also, while simultaneously doing that, providing them a student experience, a life experience that is transformative in the types of people that they become, but also, having fun along the way, having a place to explore and feeling comfortable exploring different points of view, who they are, while ultimately still having a community that they feel happy to be a part of, connected to. So maintaining that at TCU and even evolving it even to an even greater degree to the extent that's possible, while simultaneously, becoming even more nationally prominent and sharing the message about what we're about with as many students as possible, and hopefully being able to share the TCU experience with as many individuals as possible as students.
I love that. I love that. So everybody, thank you again, Dominic Mendlik. And Dominic is a scholar and a student. And by the way, speaking of that, he's a scholar, he's modest, he won't say this, but Dom's also a member of Phi Beta Kappa, which is the highest honor a student can earn at any college in America. And I think that says a lot about you, too, that you could do that while you're running around and doing all these other things. Like, really, Dom, I don't know when you sleep. Maybe you don't, but okay, we'll keep it up because whatever you're doing is working. God bless you, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Chancellor. Go Frogs.
The TCU Innovates podcast is recorded at the KTCU studio in the Bob Schieffer College of Communication at Texas Christian University. Special thanks to our student producer, George Kamar, and the entire TCU team for supporting our show. Go Frogs.